Hi, my name is Brian, and welcome to episode 1 of Music Theory for Beginners Explained by a Beginner. I myself have only been doing this a short while, and will do my best to explain some of the very basics in the best way that I know how. So, let's get started here. So, what comprises music exactly? Music is comprised of 7 characters, give or take, ranging from A to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Excuse me. Anyway, now if these were to be arranged in complete order, we would have these symbols to accompany things. This is the sharp symbol, which looks kind of like a number sign, and this is the flat symbol, which looks like a very strange oblong type of B. Now, if these were arranged in complete order or chromatic just a fancy way of meaning completely in order, in the music world anyway, is A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then repeating back at A. There is no past G. As soon as you reach G, everything begins to repeat. Now, what are these random collection of letters? What can we use them for? Well, everything in music is going to be revolving around something called the major scale. Now, what a scale is a scale is just a collection of notes that is defined by a given formula. What that means is any of these notes that are arranged in a certain order, going up or going down, will create a scale. Now, the major scale has a very specific formula that I will explain here in just a second. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. Now, what are whole steps and half steps exactly? In music, that's why we have these sharps and or flats, but we'll get into that in just a second. Now, when you go up a whole step, you would be going from, say, A to B. A half step, however, would be A to something like A sharp. It's like 1. The distance between two musical notes, two whole musical notes is what I'll call these, such as A and B, is the distance of a whole step. So A to B would be a whole step, D to E would be a whole step, G to A would be a whole step. Now, that's where these sharps come into play here. That is what we call a half step. A to A sharp is a half step. Half step one more time, you get to B. It's like a half point, like 1, 1/2, 2, 3. Now, notice that there is no sharp in between B and C, or E to F. This is because of a strange rule where B going to C, there is no sharp or flat in between. There is nothing in between there. So it's just B to C. B to C is a half step, so 1. Whereas E to F is the same thing. E to F has no. Sorry. It's just a half step. There is no sharp or flat in between E to F. A very nice phrase that you could use to remember this is big cats eat fast. B, C, E, F. Big cats eat fast. So whenever you're going up a chromatic scale, it goes chromatic, again, meaning in order, fancy word of being in order. A sharp, B, C, because remember, big cats, there is no sharp in between or a flat. C sharp, now notice that there is one after C and one before B. It's only B to C. This is something that confused me. It's only B to C. Nothing on the outside of B or C is going to have this property other than E to F. Meaning that, so B to C, then C sharp, because C to D, again, it's only B to C. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, eat fast. Same thing as B to C. There is no sharp or flat in between E to F. F sharp, G, G sharp, and A. Now that we have a little bit of a better understanding of whole step and half step, let's go with an example real quick. A to B. What do you think that would be? I'll give you a few seconds to answer. That would be a whole step. There are two half steps in between A to B. It's a whole tone to another whole tone. Same. Now, what would B to C be? Give you a second to answer. That would be a half step, because big cats, B to C, eat fast, E to F. There's no sharp or flat in between. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's go over the major scale. A major scale is when you take a starting note. You could choose any of these, but for simplicity's sake, we're just going to go with a whole tone, C, and we're going to go based off of that. So, where do we begin here? So you start with your 1, which in this case would be C, and you apply this. Sorry for that jump cut. So anyway, if you start with a C, you want to apply this formula of whole steps and half steps. Sorry, let me just write in that W for you real quick. For simplicity's sake, instead of choosing any of these, we're going to choose C, because it's one of the more simple scales to work with. C would be number 1, or your root note. Your root note is going to be the thing that you start on and the thing that you want to kind of build a tonality for, which tonalities are a completely different topic. Now from here we would go whole step, because this itself does not count as anything. This does not accompany this formula. You're going based off of this. So C itself does not incorporate any of this, if that makes sense anyway. So you want to do a whole step, because that's the first part of this major scale, is you want to do a whole step. Whole step from C, 1, 2, is a D. D would be number 2. Now that we have one whole step out of the way, we can cross that off. Now, the next part is another whole step. Sorry, the camera's not really focusing. Another whole step would be, so now that we have D out of the way, that's our first whole step down. Our next whole step, D, 1, 2, E. E is our number 3 note. I'll stop at the Roman numerals after this. So that's 2 whole steps off. This is a very important formula to memorize, by the way. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So after E, we want to go with a half step, because that's what it says in the formula right here. That would be E to F, because there is no accidental or sharp or flat in between E to F. It's just E to F. And this is why C is such a nice scale to work with. It doesn't have any of these strange ones that have sharps on them. So we have C, D, E, and F. This major scale is starting to look really good. And that was our half step. Cross that off. Now we have another whole step. Sorry I'm dragging this out so long. I just really want to drive the point home. So F, whole step, 1, 2, G. I'll go a little faster now. Whole step here, 1, 2, A. Cross that off. And now that we've reached the end of our alphabet, we repeat. Now that we've reached... Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry. We already did repeat. So now that we've hit G, it just repeats. See? It doesn't go past G. It just restarts the chain. So now that we're back at this, and let's see, what was that? Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. We have one more whole step left. A, 1, 2, B. Now we have one more, and that's C. And that is our major scale. Major scale can be characterized as sounding bright or happy and warm. Let me get my guitar for you real quick. So I can kind of show you what this scale sounds like. Let me just get a pick. Gosh, really hope I don't make a mistake right here. So if I were to start on the 2nd fret of the B string, we would go with the C major scale. Sorry. Anyway, so. And that is what a major scale sounds like. It sounds bright and happy, and it's what a lot of popular music is based around. So getting this formula down is rather important. Thank you for joining me on this episode. If you want me to cover anything else, or want me to, cover anything else, I will do my best to research the topic and relay it as best as I can.